Our session today. My name is John Ecker. I'm President and CEO of Peace of Mind Technologies. We are a security integration firm here based in New York, serving the New York, New Jersey area. I've got over 15 years experience serving the market and helping schools become safer, more secure through the technologies that we implement into facilities. Joining me is our General Manager, Dean Rossetti. And Dean has over 20 years experience, also in the security and low voltage world. He handles all of our implementation, our service, and our customer care departments. Just wanted to start off just with a little bit about statistics that's happening. Obviously, everybody knows how security is such a major concern today in schools. But about 820,000 non-fatal victimizations that happen per year from ages 12 to 18 in schools. Also, 12% of students report getting in a physical fight in schools. 5% are known to carry a weapon, and 50% report being bullied in school, and one of the reasons for some of the absentee problems. We want to talk a little bit here about having an emergency plan in place as it relates to some of your security technologies, improving the system-wide communication in the school. So when emergencies do happen, how does a school react to that? What are the technologies they're using to be able to communicate internally and externally from the school? Being able to manage both the population, the students, the staff, and the visitors that are coming into the school. Also, being able to take the access into the school and turn it into an attendance management system, which a lot of schools are doing these days. And lastly, using these technologies to help prevent vandalism. So there's a lot that goes into the different technologies, the different systems that we work with schools on, and a lot of it starts with capturing the entrance and the perimeter of the school, integrating these different systems together. So you have the entrance, you have access control systems, you have video cameras that are able to give you the sight within a school, know what's happening in all areas. Communication tools to be able to speak to the school throughout an emergency, as well as intercoms and alarms. So getting all these systems onto a platform that are talking to each other, integrated with each other, is a very important part of the process. Of course, even more important is the team that is putting these technologies together. So you have the security staff at the school, you have the IT department. All of these technologies are now going onto the network. So it's vital that the IT department have buy-in and work together with the overall team to make sure that it's going to function properly in the school. The facilities department is also involved, the administration, all the C-level positions, as well as the security vendor an integration partner that you're bringing into the school. Everyone has to be working together on the same page and be able to know exactly what the plan is as it relates to these security technologies. So for the last year and a half, what you've seen out there with some of the tragedies that have happened, one part that we really focus on is the entrance, and really upgrading the entrance of your school is a vital part of, it starts there. It's a vital part of really establishing the security of the school. And conceptually, what we've had success with in a variety of different schools that we've worked with is creating an entrance that has a vestibule that is connected to the security, the reception area of the school. From there, visitors can enter into the building, they can be stopped, and their ID can be checked. They can go into the visitor management system that the school should have. At the same time, when they're there standing in that entrance, they're also being on camera. The doors that are behind them in front of them are electronically locked from some sort of hardware mechanism that the security guard or receptionist can actually be controlling. At the same time, the students and the staff that are coming in have the ability through their badges and their student IDs or their staff IDs to seamlessly be able to enter through the school. There could be bulletproof glass that's at these entrances, so in case that there's a worst case scenario, these visitors can be stopped. They can be secured in this man trap in this vestibule. Proper authorities can be contacted, and that person dealt with. So just to give you a front shot of the exterior part of a school entrance, here's an example where you have two different doors that people are entering and exiting through. On these doors you have the proper locking hardware, strikes, mag locks. There's cameras, preferably IP cameras that are strategically located, covering the entire frontage of the school, as well as a video intercom system so that visitors can press and be properly let into the school, as well as lastly the access control, so card readers that can let people that belong in the school seamlessly into the school. From an interior view, here's an example of where the security booth is actually up close and personal at the front door, so that the visitors are stopped. They are checked in properly. At the same time, the doors are locked. They cannot get into the property, and there's cameras strategically located within the vestibule, outside the vestibule. You'll also notice several readers that are on the walls, both coming in and leaving the school. These readers are for badging purposes, where many schools are using these to capture everyone coming in and everyone going out, and using this information to turn it into an attendance management system. A bird's eye view of this particular example of a secure entrance is ideally having the inflow, the people entering the school coming in one set of doors, people leaving the school coming in another set of doors. So actually, they're not interfering with each other. And again, from a bird's eye view, you can see where there's cameras, access control, and electronic lock strategically located on the entrance of this property. I wanted to turn this over to Dean for a little bit. He'll talk about the individual technologies and the systems that make up the whole of an integrated security system at a facility.
Thank you. I'm going to be talking a little about the nuts and bolts of the systems that go into, again, securing the school facility. And one of the main systems is an access control system, which is the most active and preventative technology. It's one of your best tools in physically securing the facility. And as John mentioned before, it's utilized primarily, in the entranceway, but also can be used in all other perimeters. Besides allowing you to control unwanted entries and exits, it also allows you to control, monitor activities within the school facility and across multi-building campuses. Access control systems are a combination of hardware, software, and access card systems that allow you to accomplish this. On the hardware side, you have the typical access control components like electric door strikes, door contacts, card readers, and they're installed on both the perimeter and interior doors. I'm not talking to the screen or to the slide, so just bear with me. I'm going to give you a little more detail than what's on the slide. Perimeter doors include entrance and vestibule doors that John mentioned in terms of the man trap and the setups for school entrances, and also for service and delivery doors. We find that when we go out, we do safety assessments, and we find a lot of service and delivery doors are not being monitored and not on the access system. It's critical that these doors get onto the access system because they are weak points in your security. So besides your entrances, these doors that you may not think, kitchen access doors, going out to the outside for bringing out garbage, delivery doors. These are doors that are weak points and are doors that need to be put onto your access control system. Inside the school, access control is utilized to control and monitor activity between areas and rooms, including faculty rooms, administrative and sensitive document areas, classrooms, stairwells, exterior play areas, which are utilized, maintenance and equipment rooms, which only want certain limited activity to, roofs, and also elevators. We're finding that access control on elevators in schools by limiting access to particular floors. Individuals have certain rights, students have certain rights to go to certain floors. It limits the ability to roam and controls activity within the school facility. On the software side, access control systems incorporate programs for scheduling and monitoring through system. School decides when doors are to be open, when they're to be locked, and what credentials and access levels to be given to individuals. So you can set up individual levels, you can set up group levels, and that's all done through the software side of the access control system. The software also provides you the ability to implement emergency lockdowns, which we'll talk about a little later. Basically, at the press of a button, you can lock down all doors, prevent access into certain areas, and allow you to really control and functionality across the system. One other benefit of an access control system and software system, it allows you to generate reports, logins, logouts. You have the ability to run a report and understand the activities within your facility. It's really very beneficial. Access control software allows individuals to be assigned, as I mentioned before, different levels of access and limited access activities to certain areas or rooms. Terminating or relocating employees, you can instantaneously, with the push of a button, take that person off your system, revoking their access and not allowing them to enter or exit, any future times to the building. Same thing with students. As they change classes or is graduating, they can be, access levels can be changed. They may be moving into another building. You can change their access levels there. All right, so we've talked about hardware, we've talked about software. The next key component on an access control system is the credential system. Permanent cards are usually issued to students, faculty, and staff. Access cards are presented at door readers and allow documentation and monitoring and control throughout the area for individuals getting in and out of the school and individual classrooms or doors. Access cards are also combined with photo IDs, so they can only use one card to access your facility, and you have a photo ID as well. Another area that access cards are now more and more being utilized in is they utilize the smart cards, multifunction capabilities. So besides access control and photo ID, cards can be used for cafeteria purchases, library checkouts, and access to off-site campus buildings. So one card can do it all, and it's an integrated use of controlling and monitoring movement. We'll talk a little about some of the up-and-coming technologies in access control. One of them is very well known is mobile and access notifications, monitoring automatic alerts to your cell phone, iPads, or any other mobile devices 24/7. If you guys want to be tied in 24/7, you definitely have the ability to be notified and alerted 24/7 via your access control system for any issues or notifications of security breaches. More and more access control systems are being migrated from a server-based system. Software is being migrated from a server-based system to IP-based systems, so which allows you to access your software remotely from any web browser. Anytime you can, basically all you have to do is access the internet. You can go in off-site, you can change lock schedules, change access rights. So it gives you the ability to do this off-site and very fluid. Some recent technologies on the access side, control side in terms of cards. One is NFC, near field communications. Access controls, you could use that cell phone as a proximity card replacement. Basically, going up to a reader. iClass readers now have that ability built in, and that's becoming more and more of a standard. Another access standard for cards is RFID. We've seen these implemented in schools where it's an easy pass type card. So again, you don't have to be your proximity doesn't have to be right in front of your reader. You could actually be moving through an area and be picking up that individual or multiple individuals. It helps in high traffic areas in the beginning of the school day, when you have a crowd of students going through a portal. It allows you to pick up badges and without having to worry about swiping. It's something that is being utilized in a number of school systems, and it's proven to be very, very reliable. So that's an overview on access control. I'm going to talk a little about attendance management. Attendance management systems are basically a subset of access control systems. And they can be broken up into two basic components. Management of permanent access card holders, like students. Again, it's a little off the slide here, so just listen to my presentation. So you got a permanent management system with students, faculty, staff, issuing of cards for those individuals. And you have management of temporary visitors, parents, caregivers, contractors, and delivery personnel. You want to manage the flow for both permanent and visitor management systems. Attendance management systems tied in with access control software allows you to automatically log in student attendance, that John mentioned on the entrance methods, eliminating the need for roll call and paper attendance capture. It also allows for better control and monitoring of student exits and control of truancy. Attendance reports can be generated off your access control systems and sent to teachers and school administration people, and these can be done automatically on set times. You know that you're locking down at 9:30. Everybody should be in the school by then. An automatic report on the attendance side can be sent out to teachers within their classrooms and to school administrators. Also, custom reports can be developed. Basically, fire drill reports, muster reports. Anything you can do in terms of managing your attendance can be put into a report and can be available to you. On the visitor side, we're finding that the attendance management for electronic systems, you can create an electronic record of that visitor. Right now, instead of just having somebody sign in, you actually have that person show a photo ID, you scan their ID, they're given a temporary badge with temporary allocation and visiting rights to certain areas of the school. You can delineate what floor they are going to go to, you can delineate who they're going to see. And that person is required to come back to you, to the security desk or the checkout point at the end of the visit so they can be checked out. This is a way of logging that visitor in. There's a record of that visitor, and it allows you control over those visitor management. Another area we're seeing visitor management used is regarding parents. I mentioned before that we're issuing permanent cards to students, faculty, and staff. A lot of schools are now starting to issue photo ID cards to parents. And this gives the school and the parents some comfort levels. When they come in, pick up their child, or a caregiver comes to pick up their child, there's a photo record and there's a log record for that entry. And not only logs the parent's entry, but also could pull up a record of the child associated to that individual or to that caretaker. It's a very, very, very powerful tool, so that there is some cross-reference in terms of that individual and the child and student in the school. Visitor management systems can also provide automatic alerts tied into stop and watch lists. People have restraining orders or have issues with picking up. Some people aren't authorized to pick up their child. The caregiver may be fired. these can be automatically inserted into the system, and they can be automatically pop up as alerts if that person comes in and tries to make an entry. And since all these systems are tied into the access control system, they all can be accessed remotely again and can be controlled remotely. Next area I'd like to discuss is something that we're all pretty much familiar with, is the video cameras and megapixel cameras specifically. Just with a show of hands, end users here, who in education facilities has analog cameras in their facilities currently? Anybody? IP cameras? Combination of both? So again, we're seeing that, you know, there's a transition from analog to IP in terms of video security in schools. Megapixel camera is basically a network device. It's a high-resolution camera, much better than the standard analog camera. It gives you much more capabilities, which I'll talk about in a few minutes. So as you see by this slide, there's a major differential between the video resolution and quality that you can get from an analog camera versus a high megapixel IP camera. It's just night and day. So if you have not upgraded to IP cameras, I strongly recommend doing that. But besides the higher resolution and high quality, some of the other advantages of upgrading to IP is that in most cases you can utilize existing wiring, either existing wiring to the analog cameras that you have, or because they're IP and network based, you can use Cat5, Cat6, go to a local switch, go to a local closet, IT closet, and tie in there. You don't have to run the cables to the head end, because you can get on the network and you can tie those cameras in. The increased resolution with a megapixel camera also can reduce your cost. You can replace several analog cameras. One strategically placed megapixel IP camera can easily replace 2 or 3 analog cameras, and you'll see tremendous differences in quality in that respect. Another advantage of megapixel cameras, it allows you to do digital zooming, basically creating a virtual PTZ on either a live view or in the pre-recorded view. You go back in, you can zoom in, and tremendous resolution capabilities, and you're amazing having to have PTZ cameras in that case. These cameras are tied into network storage devices. They are that can provide easy, fast access, higher capacity storage, and of course, again, as a network device, IP device, remote viewing on your mobile device, be it an iPad or iPhone, and also you can receive 24/7 video clip alerts and notifications instantaneously. You set up an IP camera with your access system, you can get an immediate notification on an alarm situation as you program into the system. Somebody going through a roof door after hours that wasn't supposed to be there, you can be notified on your phone. You'll see the clip, you see the playback of the clip. It's tremendous technologies. And some of the other advantages of IP camera technologies is the ability for forensic documentation, the ability to track individuals now when tied into your access control system through their entry to their exit. So basically you have a recorded pathway of not only video but also their access. And going back and retrieving that information and creating a forensic document of that activity is very, very powerful. And because of the tremendous flexibility of IP cameras, one of the things you can do is the ability to integrate this with your managed services systems, which Sean will talk about in a little while. We'll now talk about just quickly about wireless communications. Primarily wireless communications in the system, I know as public address systems. Loop reader wireless public address systems can be wireless, eliminating the need to run wires, local power, local speakers. You can strategically place these units throughout the school, hallways, stairwells, classrooms. They have high quality video, high quality, audio, and also video, like flashing lights, strobes, and some public address systems now even have LED type text messaging where you can actually scroll a message out to the school. These systems can be tied into your mobile device as well, so you can have pre-recorded messages. Touch of a button, you can activate a public address emergency situation. We're going to alarms and lockdowns. All right, alarms and intrusion devices are the most common and basic security systems. You're all familiar with that. But tying them into your access and video systems have become much more dynamic and powerful. Doors, window contacts, motion sensors, glass breaks, and panic buttons are typical devices in an alarm system. But when integrated, as I mentioned, with an access control and an IP camera video system, they become much more powerful in your security of your school. One integration tool, an integrated device with an access control is an enunciator system. Contacted doors can provide local notification at the door, typically with the siren and strobe, which is typical for an alarm system. But then they could also be sending back a notification to a central point, your security desk, either audible, video, visual notification. There can be bypasses set up, and when that trigger goes off, the video can start recording via the access system notification, and you have a clip of that movement. This is critical for somebody exiting an unauthorized door, a perimeter door, somebody going out of a door. You know, you may not have somebody out there, but you'll have notification. There's a video clip, there's notification. The notification go back to the security desk, but it go back to multiple responders if necessary. Another major component of alarm systems is panic buttons. Panic buttons we're seeing more and more applied to security systems for schools, issued to key security and administrative personnel. One button press, you can send an alarm signal to not only to the central station, but to your local enforcement, and also to multiple on-site and off-site personnel. One button press could also trigger complete access control lockdown as it's tied into the access system. Alarm systems no longer need to be a passive part of your security system, should become an active part and integrated with your access and video systems. And we'll finish up with the intercoms. Again, a very, very basic system, but when tied in with your access and video systems or with a video intercom system, you have a much, much more dynamic control for off-hour, after-hour access, and also for access during school hours when doors are locked and locked down. The first line of defense and security of school. Intercoms allow two-way communication, and coupled with a video camera, you can provide remote visual verification, and that video could also be captured for later use, similar to a video camera, on perimeter or inside. Many schools now have IP-based intercom systems, so they're tied in to the network, allowing for multi-interior stations to broadcast and for programming to transmit to mass alerts. In summary, I just want to say that all these tools and devices are just, all these technology devices are just tools. Successful deployment and implementation of an integrated security system requires a commitment and it's possibly a change of culture in most cases by school administration, people, students, faculty, staff, and parents. And it's recommended that you use a security partner to help you navigate these solutions. Again, individually, technology and devices have their individual merits, but when they're tied together and integrated, they have a much more powerful safety and security in schools. And when you combine those integrated security systems into a managed services platform that John is going to finish up with, it allows you even greater control. Thank you.
Thanks, Dean. I wanted to talk a little bit about managed services. Now that Dean's talked about the individual various systems, another service available today to schools is off-site monitoring of these different technologies. So leveraging the technologies that you put into these schools for various different scenarios. One would be for voicing down during emergency situations. Another would be assisted access control and managed access of the school when the resources are not in place. Another example is remote video monitoring, construction sites, or during pickup and drop-off, for examples. And then off-hours video verification. So when alarms do happen, who's the first line of defense that you go to, and basically utilizing managed services to be able to help with viewing the school, be able to be involved with what's happening during these emergencies. So utilizing the cameras, utilizing the access control systems, utilizing speakers and panic buttons to be able to have a higher level of safety on the property. So one example we were involved with recently in the city was a school that was under construction, and it was a pretty large construction site next to a bunch of residential homes and buildings. And the residential homes next door were concerned about the construction, so the school put in IP cameras, they put in speakers, they put in access control and alarms, and when at nighttime, when those alarms were triggered, our remote monitoring agents were able to view the location, voice down to the location, tell the person, whoever's there, that the authorities have been notified, they must leave right away. And it was a very effective solution during the construction of that project, keeping the site very safe. So again, example of that monitoring on motion is the control center would receive that alert. The operator would know on their computers, they have a very sophisticated software that shows them what the school how they would want them to react during a particular emergency, during if there was a break-in or something that happened at that construction site at night, and they're able to voice down properly to that location, let them know the authorities are being contacted, and then also at the same time communicating with the school and the proper school representatives or the police department. Next is also very important managed service is that these systems are proactively monitoring the health of themselves. And anytime a device fails, for an alert to immediately go out to either or the school or the integrator that is the partner of the school to assure that that device is immediately repaired and taken care of, so that you have the peace of mind during any episode that these devices are going to be working and everything's going to be functioning properly. Time and time again, in the past decade, if you will, it's been much more reactive, where you find out after the fact that these systems aren't working. Technologies today should allow you to monitor on a real-time basis the health of these systems. Another managed service that we're seeing in the market is when schools don't have the resources to actually manage the access control systems themselves. They turn to their partners, their integrators, who can actually manage the access. Do things like deleting users, setting up schedules, programming the system, making up new cards, running reports for the school. Those are services that can be very effective, and it would allow the school to have the resources that they have in place focus on other areas and turn to their integrated partner to be able to manage the access for them. So we've talked a lot about devices, how these devices work, managed services component of being able to leverage the devices and add another level of safety and security. But what happens when an issue occurs? How do they all work together? So some examples of successful integration would be when a door's open and they're not supposed to be open, that the system is talking to the head end, talking to the administrators. It sends a video clip, it sends an alarm immediately to the director of security, facilities, and then whoever is supposed to be the one that's getting that alert. And from there, security can then voice down to that space, make sure that they're handling it properly, and deal with that particular instance. The systems are working for the school. It complements what's happening at the school with the guards, with the human resources that are there. Another would be a successful integration is when, for example, a fire alarm happened. What happens during that fire alarm? The system should be programmed to immediately be sending the proper video of a particular zone in the school as to what's happened in that area. School personnel should be getting that information on their PDAs, the remote handheld devices, so they can access the school different areas, sort of having the eyes behind their head. Also, if you're utilizing the access control systems as also attendance type solutions, then the system should automatically run a muster report, send it to a variety of different locations so the school could actually know who is in and out of the building the second that that alarm was triggered. Again, if an unauthorized person tries to enter a secure area and are denied, that could trigger a whole slew of different events. Could trigger video to pop up at the guard station. It could automatically log who tried to get into that particular area, and then the school could effectively deal with that situation. So Dean talked a little bit about lockdowns. We've worked with quite a bit of schools on a lockdown scenario at certain levels of security, what happens to the system. But again, in a successful integration, on a worst case scenario situation, if a lockdown is started, the system communicates that the exterior doors or even internal doors are supposed to lock down. The doors lock down automatically. Then through any sort of panic system, through a device that's triggered, the alarm to go off, that could, if there's a managed services component, that can have the managed services, the remote station be viewing the school, communicating properly to the right people in the school as well as the authorities, and working with the authorities to make sure that that particular emergency is dealt with properly. So all these different systems, all these different people, the security team, the security technologies are really all working hand in hand together, and a fully integrated system is going to work proactively for the school. It's going to help make the facility a much safer, much secure environment. And we appreciate this time that you've given us to talk a little bit about security solutions in K-12 schools, and be happy to open up the this session to questions that you might have.